Так, братец.
Somewhere far, far away on the end of the world, an island named Berk has been inhabited by the Vikings since several generations. Their natural life is always disturbed by pests that are very dangerous, which is called dragon. We were shown Pack Loft Dragon attack that made chaos on the island of Berk. A young man named Hiccup trying to save himself looking for a shelter. While the Vikings called Dragon Fighter immediately made preparations to counterattack and also evacuate the villagers. Hiccup is the son of a leader or chief of tribes from the Vikings named Stoic. He ordered Hiccup to immediately find a hiding place rather than being roasted as a Thanksgiving menu. Because it has years of experience, Stoic looks not panic without fear of dealing with dragons. Hiccup is a student of blacksmith named Gobber. When he wants to help to fight the dragon, Gobber forbids, because he is not a dragon fighter, and tells him to do the task of being an assistant blacksmith. Stoic immediately gathered Dragon Fighter to explain the strategy to deal with dragon attacks, because each dragon had different skills and weaknesses, while other soldiers were tasked with extinguishing fire. Hiccup fell in love with a Dragon Fighter candidate girl named Astrid, who was also there, but other Dragon Fighter always underestimated Hiccup, because how could a chief of tribe child be able to fight? Hiccup became upset and explained to Gobber if this time he would prove to be a fighter who could kill the dragon. Gobber laughed because maybe there was Astrid hoping to be a girlfriend. So Gobber let Hiccup do what he wanted with a dragon capture weapon, while the village continued to be brutally attacked where the dragon's purpose was to get food. Dragon Slayer continues to fight by capturing the dragons. Then, a dragon called Nigerian Dragon's very dangerous attacked the tower, so this is the right time for Hiccup to show off, capture the flamethrower with the weapons that have been made. He saw the target flying in the air and immediately shot Nigerian Dragon. Unfortunately, the net trap hit about something else was dark. Nigerian Dragon appeared in front of the fearful face, ready for the dinner. Stoic knows his son in danger, so he must immediately go help and beat without fear. After the chaos, the dragons left by stealing livestock, leaving damage throughout the village. While Hiccup argued, convincing Stoic if he had been able to fight Nigerian Dragon, but for Stoic, it was not a fight because what was done was suicide and only caused problems for the Dragon Fighter, who was supposed to focus on fighting, not to save the loser, because it had repeatedly, if Hiccup would have a problem. But that is a challenge. Then Hiccup will go to find a dragon who was shot by a trap that night, and will go home with the head of the dragon as proof. Meanwhile, the entire Viking army gathered to make a plan to end the war that had endless. Stoic explained that if they had to take revenge to destroy all the dragon nests on the volcanic island, this was not an easy thing that did require sacrifice. At first, the elders disagreed because going into the dragon's nest meant death. But Stoic reminded that this time was fatal damage, and their ancestors had not dared to attack into the nest. Also, Elder Gothi predicted that this war would end it. So finally, all dragon fighters agreed to attack the dragon nest. Elsewhere, Hiccup tracks the trail of a fallen dragon after being hit by a net trap. A fallen tree is proof that the dragon is near. And right, he saw the black dragon sitting there. Then, this was a chance to kill that dragon easily because it was helpless, full of wounds. As Hiccup prepares for execution, the dragon shows eyes that are like saying, "Please do it quickly." Seeing this makes Hiccup not have the heart to carry out the execution and cut the trap. Unfortunately, the black dragon immediately jumped up to show dominance, shouted angrily, and left even though it could not fly normally until it fell down the abyss. When he returns home, Stoic believes Hiccup can kill dragons by giving orders to train to become a dragon fighter, who must be able to think, talk, and walk like a Viking. The next morning, the dragon fighter candidates gathered at the arena, and Hiccup was also there. It turns out that they will be trained by Gobber, and first training by fighting low-level dragons, captured to be used as training tools. Now, they will fight mini-winged fat dragons, eat anything, including rocks. The fat dragon kept attacking like it was playing, making Hiccup scared. Because in a dangerous situation, Gobber immediately put the fat dragon into the cage and their first training has failed. After that, Hiccup returned to look for the black dragon that fell into the abyss, which turned out to be a very beautiful place, with a water source at the bottom of the cliff. Hiccup finds beautiful black scales, and suddenly the black dragon tries to fly to get out of the cliff with difficulty. He tried to draw the dragon and finally found the reason the black dragon could not fly, because part of the fin tail had disappeared, even could not find food in that place, and realized that Hiccup was there. That night, Hiccup goes to the training ground, where Gobber explains the results of their first training. He also shows a manual that explains the types of dragons, statistics, skills, and all things from dragons that have faced Vikings since long ago. However, they are not interested at all, and only Hiccup wants to learn more about dragons, starting from the Strike class, Trigger class, and Mystery class classifications. Each dragon has special skills in attack, speed, endurance, and size. But of all the references in the book, Hiccup does not find any details about the black dragon, which means it is included in the classification Mystery class. Another place the Viking forces have reached the volcanic island, where the dragon's nest is shrouded in thick fog, and they are preparing to break through without fear. Suddenly, the dragon began to attack from the air, as well as from the water. Meanwhile, dragon fighters starting training against the second dragon, which is more aggressive, making them have to constantly dodge, unless Astrid boldly gives an attack until the dragon returns to the cage. She looks annoyed because none of the men dared to fight the dragon, including Hiccup. After that, Hiccup visited the black dragon with fish because he was sure the black dragon could not get food in that place, then slowly approached to show if he was not a threat and threw away the knife. Also, when the black dragon would bite the fish, it did not have teeth. Then Hiccup called the Toothless. Toothless unexpectedly responds by giving Hiccup a fish head as a sign of sharing. Then he is forced to eat the raw fish head as proof of friendship. Although at first it is difficult to get closer, they eventually understand each other as Hiccup draws an ugly face on the ground, and Toothless tries to follow by starting to draw, even though the result is like a map on a pillow. As proof that Toothless has been successfully tamed, Hiccup touches the face of this black dragon without any doubts, so that from that day, they really become best friends. In order for Toothless to fly normally, Hiccup returns to the village to create a device that has the same system as the fins, on which the tail will be attached, and to do that, he distracts by bringing more food. So Hiccup quickly installs the fake fins he made earlier with care. Unexpectedly, Toothless flies away carrying Hiccup dangling on a tail that seems like a fake tail that works well, even though it ends up both falling into the river. The next day, the third training day for Dragon Fighter against Double-Headed Dragon with fog and poison abilities. This training was more difficult than before, but when the poison dragon ready to attack, the dragon smelled Hiccup's contaminated body odor from Toothless, so that the dragon was scared back into the cage without any resistance. They were very surprised why the dragon was afraid of Hiccup, and the third training was completed. Day by day, Hiccup continues to innovate equipment to be comfortable while riding Toothless, although initially it is very difficult to do because they have to adapt. Even in the fourth training, Hiccup knows the trick and manages to defeat Fat Dragon. Then he returns to be the winner. This makes other dragon fighter candidates suspicious because Hiccup easily defeats every dragon in training. It was obtained when interacting with Toothless like trying to tickle, and applied to the fifth training, he easily defeated the dragon without a fight. Now Hiccup has become popular among candidate dragon fighters. When Astrid is training in the forest, she saw Hiccup walking around with something. She is curious to find out what he is actually doing, because he always easily defeats dragons in training. But it is useless because Hiccup is already on site to try fix the equipment on Toothless again. Meanwhile, the Vikings have returned to the village in a state of defeat, where several people were injured and killed as a chief. This makes Stoic desperate to walk without saying anything to the villagers. There, Gobber still encouraged him not to be sad, because Hiccup had become a dragon fighter candidate who got the highest score during training. Finally, Hiccup be able to ride Toothless, perfectly exploring the blue skies above Burke Island. And now, he trying various maneuvers according to the manual book. That night, Stoic is proud of Hiccup for his achievements from previously not a fighter, now the best candidate for a dragon fighter. Also, Stoic does not need to be ashamed, because as the chief of the tribe, he has son who will one day become a top slayer. The next morning, when Hiccup brings food to Toothless, unexpectedly Astrid up there. He is very surprised how can be she find this place. Here comes the misunderstanding as Toothless emerges from behind the stone, so Astrid preparing to attack. Hiccup explains, this dragon is not dangerous as long as it does not get a threat. Realizing the wrong thing, Astrid immediately went to report on the villagers. Hiccup and Toothless quickly capture Astrid, who flies away like a toy and taken to the top of a cliff. Hiccup tries to negotiate, explaining everything about Toothless. Astrid finally understands because all dragons are killers, but it seems that if treated well, these beasts can tamed. This is proven when Astrid drive behind Hiccup, but it seems Toothless is still annoyed by giving shock therapy to fly quickly, without rules like riding a Costa roller, and this is just the beginning of the journey, because the next will be a crazier attraction and Toothless looks very satisfied. They flew very far and did not expect to be on a volcanic island where it was the nest of the dragons. They don't know what happened when trapped with hundreds of dragons who were heading to the center of the mountain, entering the nest because they didn't want to make trouble. They must be calm when entering the center of the nest around the volcano crater. They were surprised when a very large dragon queen appeared from inside the mountain gap to eat the dragons there, causing chaos that made them have to escape as quickly as possible. From there, upon learning of a larger disaster, Astrid plans to report it to the tribe chief, but Hiccup disagrees, fearing that Toothless' whereabouts will also be revealed. He asks for time to find a better way. The next day is the day of proving the best candidate. During the previous training, Hiccup will fight a very dangerous dragon in the gladiatorial arena, witnessed by the villagers, elders, and tribe chief. Stoic looks proud to be able to watch his son fight to show his abilities as a dragon fighter, but Hiccup actually looks like he doesn't want to do that, like injuring or killing dragons. Hiccup entering into the arena, so everyone was screaming and couldn't wait to see the fight. The gate began to open, showing a very large fire, because it turned out to be a very aggressive dragon attacker, full flame disaster category. The dragon began to approach to attack, but Hiccup did something crazy by throwing away the sword and shield, so that everyone was surprised. Hiccup's goal is to try to tame the dragon attacker, despite the risk. When the dragon starts to calm down, Stoic immediately stops the fight, making the dragon aggressive again, attacking anything brutally whatever is there, while Toothless feels a danger and immediately goes to save Hiccup. The situation gets more chaotic as the dragon continues to attack, making Hiccup give up waiting to be burned. Luckily, Toothless arrives, and it's the first dragon versus dragon fight in Bark. Toothless managed to intimidate frightened fire dragon back into the cage. Unfortunately, they did not understand if Toothless was a tame dragon, immediately entered the arena by besieging, trying to attack from various directions. Even Stoic did not hesitate to do so. When Toothless prepare for kill Stoic, Hiccup asks him to stop and not fight back. It becomes a chance for the dragon fighter to capture and make Toothless surrender. Hiccup can't do anything to see this Drago being captured, because Stoic reminds him that his wife was killed by a dragon, and since then, his revenge is to have to kill all the dragons. Hiccup explains that there is something terrible waiting in the dragon's lair when he goes with Astrid and Toothless, and that only dragons can get through the thick fog that envelops the island. Hearing this, Stoic has a plan to go to the dragon's lair to take Toothless as a prisoner, as well as a way to get through the thick fog. Hiccup pleads not to do so because getting into the nest will only suicide mission. But Stoic doesn't care, because this is an opportunity to take revenge by destroying the dragon's lair. They all set off in full force, also carrying Toothless, so that the path to the fog-covered lair can be opened, while Stoic is sure to finish this fight. Elsewhere, Hiccup is sad not to be able to do what he should, because when he first met Toothless, the green eyes showed fear, including this time. Then, according to Astrid, why didn't go and save Toothless? Unfortunately, all the ships have been brought for war, but Hiccup has a crazy idea, which is to persuade the candidate Dragon Fire to tame the dragon from previous training using the same way when taming Toothless. At first, they were very scared because it was very risky, but finally, they all managed to tame the dragon that brings nightmares to every dragon fighter before. Stoic made it through the fog and began to enter the gate of the dragon's nest. Marked with several dragons were sleeping on the rocks, so they had to be prepared to face if there was an attack. After landing, the Vikings prepared all the war equipment and traps. Also, catapults were immediately fired to destroy the cliff opening the access door into the nest. Unexpectedly, when Stoic was about to enter the nest, suddenly, many dragons came out of the nest, but they didn't attack like scared with something. Toothless also felt the same. They thought they had scared the dragon, but there was something more terrible. A dragon queen fantastic size emerged from the ground, destroying whatever was there, making the Vikings run in fear, like being chased by debt collectors. This dragon queen is a level of disaster that has never been identified. So the dragon fighter has no way to defeat this colossal creature. Even a fire attack in an instant destroys the entire ship, burned like toilet paper. Stoic realizes if the troops are in danger, so should be able to distract the dragon queen by using a catapult attack, and the plan was successful. Luckily, Hiccup and others arrived, riding a dragon that has been tamed, immediately attacked the dragon queen. They were all surprised how such a dangerous dragon could be tamed, that it could even help in a fight. Hiccup realizes that Toothless is still being held aboard the burning ship and attempts to remove the iron seal, but the seal is too strong to be removed. Unexpectedly, the dragon queen's attack makes both of them fall into the water. Stoic dives into the water to rescue Hiccup and dives back to remove the seal that binds Toothless and finally be free, return to land. Now that the two friends are ready to fight alongside each other, Stoic approaches to apologize if he has made a mistake for not hearing what Hiccup said before. After that, he flew to fight while Astrid was trapped in the dragon queen's mouth full of teeth that never brushed in her life, so Astrid easily destroyed the teeth like chopping wood. Luckily, she immediately jumps before being ashed by the flames and captured by Toothless. Hiccup has a plan to keep away the dragon queen from the Viking army and the others. He's trying to provoke the queen, following him as far as possible by flying skyward. The provocation plan works because the dragon queen looks angry and tries to catch the two, who immediately enter the thick clouds. It turns out that it is a trap in order to attack the dragon queen, who is confused because she cannot detect their presence, while the Viking troops only see flashes of light like seeing fireworks in the new year. Unfortunately, when the dragon queen attacks in all directions, false fins burn, making Toothless unable to maneuver properly, can only slide down with high speed. When the dragon queen prepares to attack, Hiccup quickly gives orders to Toothless to attack the queen's mouth, so that the fire burn inside her body also fell at high speed, hit the mountain, and explode, while Hiccup was thrown down into the explosion of fire with Toothless. After that, Stoic sees Toothless helpless on the ground, and Hiccup nowhere to be found. He grieves and blames himself. However, Hiccup survived because he was protected by Toothless with his body. Stoic was very happy, also the All People. For the first time in his life, Stoic touches a dragon and thanks him for saving his son. Hiccup is awakened by Toothless, who appears excited. But there was something strange, because it turned out that he had lost his left leg during the previous incident. Then, he opens the door and is awaited by Snotlout, riding a dragon, and more surprise, he sees an incredible sight, as they have now made peace with the dragons that have been killing each other for thousands of years. Stoic is very proud that he has changed everyone's mindset about dragons and forgotten all the never-ending war. Then Astrid approached with an annoyed face and gave a special gift. Also, Gobber brought a gift of fake fins for Toothless to be able to fly freely again to explore the sky with other dragons, because now they are the first generation to live side by side with dragons without worry and become protectors of the Burke Island that you will not find on any map. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more new video. I am Fox, and thanks for watching.